Welcome to Truth Report. I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. Tonight, we pull back the curtain on hidden agendas, expose the fault lines in political power, and reveal the often ignored truths underpinning our world.
From geopolitical maneuvers in the South China Sea to the shadowy world of online scams, and the very mechanics of how systems can fail, we delve deep into stories that demand transparency.
We'll uncover how public funds are mismanaged, how rhetoric can divide, and the complex scientific revelations that could impact everything from engineering to climate models.
Prepare for an unflinching look at power, accountability, and the relentless pursuit of the truth that defines our mission. Our first story takes us to the geopolitical chessboard of the South China Sea, where internal divisions within the Philippine government threaten to undermine its stance against Beijing.
A leaked letter, first reported by the South China Morning Post, exposes a critical fault line in how President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s administration navigates its most contentious foreign policy challenge.
The letter, penned by Foreign Affairs Secretary Enrique Manalo, reveals significant disagreements over how the Philippines should publicly confront China's aggressive actions in the disputed waters. This isn't just a bureaucratic spat, it's a window into strategic paralysis.
Manalo's concerns, according to the SCMP, highlight a lack of unified messaging. Days after this internal struggle became evident, the Department of Foreign Affairs created a new maritime spokesman role, adding to voices already present in the Coast Guard, Armed Forces, and National Maritime Council.
This proliferation of spokespeople, while seemingly aimed at clarity, could actually exacerbate the problem. It suggests the initial leak forced a reactive, rather than proactive, attempt to control the narrative, further exposing the internal disarray.
The critical takeaway here is the implication of this disunity. A fragmented communication strategy on such a sensitive issue risks sending mixed signals to both international allies, like the United States, and, critically, to Beijing itself. It portrays weakness.
Who benefits from this internal discord? Certainly not the Philippines. China, on the other hand, thrives on any perceived weakness or division among its claimants. It allows them to continue their assertive territorial claims with less unified opposition.
The Filipino people ultimately lose. Without a cohesive, strong diplomatic front, the nation's sovereign rights in its exclusive economic zone remain vulnerable to Chinese encroachment. This leak suggests some within the government understand the stakes but are struggling to find common ground.
This episode casts a harsh spotlight on the delicate balancing act in President Marcos Jr.'s China policy. He's attempting to strengthen alliances with the U.S. while trying not to completely alienate China, but this internal strife makes that balancing act even more precarious.
The broader power structure at play here involves China's hegemonic ambitions in the region versus the Philippines' sovereignty, backed by international law and a strengthening alliance with Washington. Internal leaks and disunity only serve to empower the aggressor.
This leak isn't just about a letter, it's about the very core of national security and the ability of a sovereign nation to defend its territory and its people against external pressure. The truth of their internal struggles has now been laid bare.
From geopolitical strategy to the weaponization of rhetoric, our next story uncovers how inflammatory claims can destabilize societies and feed into dangerous narratives.
Nigel Farage, a figure synonymous with populist politics, has made what Middle East describes as outlandish and unproven claims about Islamists being embedded within the UK establishment.
Farage's statements, delivered in the charged atmosphere of political commentary, suggest a deliberate attempt to sow discord and fear. His history reveals a pattern of targeting minority groups and exploiting national anxieties for political gain.
The specific nature of his claim, that Islamists are not just present, but embedded within the British establishment, is designed to evoke images of infiltration and conspiracy. It lacks any verifiable evidence, making it purely speculative and deeply divisive.
This isn't just a casual remark, it's a strategic move in the ongoing culture wars. By painting a picture of an internal enemy, Farage aims to discredit institutions and polarize public opinion, often pushing for a more nationalist, isolationist agenda.
Who benefits from such rhetoric? Farage himself, by garnering media attention and galvanizing a segment of the population that feels alienated or fearful. Political parties that lean into populist nationalism also benefit from this kind of fearmongering.
The biggest losers are the Muslim communities in the UK, who face increased scrutiny, prejudice, and even hate crimes as a result of such unsubstantiated accusations. It fosters an environment of suspicion and hostility.
Furthermore, the UK establishment itself loses credibility when baseless claims are made against it, even if they are proven false. It erodes trust in democratic institutions and the civil service, which are crucial for stable governance.
The broader power structure at play is the rise of right-wing populism across the Western world. Figures like Farage thrive on creating us versus them narratives, often scapegoating minorities for complex societal issues, to consolidate their own political power.
This serves to distract from actual policy failures or socio-economic inequalities, redirecting public anger towards manufactured threats. It's a classic tactic of demagogues: identify an enemy, inflate the threat, and offer yourself as the only solution.
The truth here is that these claims are not about facts or evidence, but about power and control. They are designed to manipulate public perception and reshape the political landscape through division, not through genuine debate or understanding.
Our next story takes us into the intricate world of fluid dynamics, revealing fundamental truths about how complex systems can amplify instability. It's a scientific revelation that could be a whistleblower for hidden vulnerabilities.
We're examining a paper from AR14, titled From Oblique-Wave Forcing to Streak Reinforcement, a perturbation-based frequency response framework. While highly technical, its implications are profoundly practical.
The researchers, through this framework, are analyzing amplification mechanisms central to subcritical routes to transition in wall-bounded shear flows. Think about the flow of air over an aircraft wing, or water through a pipe, or even currents in the ocean.
What they've established is a rigorous correspondence between linear resolvent analysis and higher-order nonlinear interactions. This means they are revealing how small disturbances, under certain conditions, can be exponentially amplified by the system's own nonlinearities.
At second order, the paper delves into quadratic interactions. This is crucial because it unveils how seemingly minor forces can combine in unexpected ways to reinforce instabilities, leading to phenomena like turbulence or system failures.
For too long, linear models have dominated our understanding, often underestimating the potential for catastrophic events. This research acts as a scientific whistleblower, exposing the deeper, more complex truths of how systems can fail, often starting with tiny triggers.
Who benefits from this kind of advanced understanding? Engineers, designers, and safety regulators in aerospace, energy, and transportation. Knowing these amplification mechanisms allows for the creation of more robust and safer systems.
Conversely, those who ignore these nonlinear complexities, perhaps due to cost-cutting or a lack of sophisticated analysis, are the ones who ultimately lose. It leaves critical infrastructure vulnerable to unexpected failures.
The broader power structure here isn't immediately obvious, but it's about the power of knowledge itself. The scientific community, by pushing the boundaries of understanding, provides the tools to challenge existing design paradigms and expose hidden risks.
This research reveals the inherent complexities and often hidden dangers within systems we rely on daily. It's a call for deeper scrutiny, not just of components, but of the intricate, often nonlinear, interactions that dictate system stability and failure.
The truth unveiled here is that reality is often far more intricate and prone to subtle amplification mechanisms than simplified models suggest. Ignoring these deeper truths risks catastrophic consequences, making this academic paper a critical public service.
Our investigative lens now turns to Cambodia, where a much-touted anti-scam campaign appears to be more about optics than genuine reform, as highlighted by the Diplomat.
The article, titled Crackdown, Chaos, or Cover-Up in Cambodia, suggests this campaign is primarily aimed at deflecting scrutiny rather than dismantling the vast political economy that made industrial-scale scamming possible.
This isn't just about a few rogue actors. We're talking about industrial-scale scamming operations, often involving human trafficking and forced labor, operating with what appears to be significant impunity for years.
The crackdown seems to be a performance, a public relations exercise designed to appease international pressure while preserving the lucrative, deep-seated criminal enterprises that have flourished within Cambodia's borders.
The victims, often lured with false promises of high-paying jobs, are then forced into digital slavery, running elaborate online scams targeting people globally. Their plight is systematically downplayed or ignored in these performative crackdowns.
Who benefits from this charade? The Cambodian government, which can claim action against crime while potentially allowing the underlying systems of corruption and complicity to continue. The crime syndicates, of course, are the primary beneficiaries.
The true losers are the countless victims trapped in these scam compounds, denied their freedom and dignity. Also losing are the international efforts to combat human trafficking and cybercrime, as these crackdowns merely shift the problem or provide cover.
The broader power structure at play is the nexus of state power and organized crime. When governments fail to genuinely dismantle such operations, it implies a level of complicity or, at best, a willful turning of a blind eye due to the economic benefits derived.
This scenario exemplifies how an opaque political system can manipulate narratives, using a public crackdown to mask a deeper, systemic failure, or even active collaboration, in perpetuating egregious human rights abuses and large-scale fraud.
The truth is, without a fundamental change in the political economy that enables these scams, any campaign will remain a superficial gesture. It's a cover-up designed to protect those at the top, not to liberate the victims or end the criminality. Our final story brings us to Germany, highlighting a glaring flaw in the push for green energy infrastructure, where good intentions are being derailed by bureaucratic blunders.
CleanTechnica reports on the absurd situation in Bielefeld, where 7 brand new hydrogen garbage trucks, purchased with public funds, are sitting idle. The reason? They can't legally refuel at a nearby hydrogen station, also built with public funds.
This isn't just an isolated incident, it's a stark illustration of the limits of pilot-driven infrastructure, as the article accurately points out. The promise of hydrogen as a clean fuel is being undermined by a complete lack of foresight and coordination.
These vehicles and the refueling station represent significant public investment, intended to showcase Germany's commitment to sustainable transport. Instead, they stand as monuments to inefficiency and poor planning.
The issue, we learn, is a regulatory one. The station, designed for buses, is not legally permitted to refuel the garbage trucks. This bureaucratic impasse reveals a profound disconnect between policy, procurement, and practical implementation.
Who benefits from this? Potentially, the manufacturers who sold the trucks and built the station, securing public contracts regardless of operational viability. The public, however, loses out on both clean transport and effective use of taxpayer money.
The environmental goals are also undermined. These trucks were meant to reduce emissions, but instead, they're just expensive lawn ornaments, doing nothing for climate action while conventional diesel trucks continue to operate.
The broader power structure here is the often fragmented nature of government-led innovation. Different departments, different regulations, and a lack of overarching strategic planning can cripple even the most well-intentioned initiatives for green transition.
It exposes a systemic flaw where the desire to be seen as green or innovative overrides the due diligence required for successful implementation. It's a costly lesson in how bureaucracy can stifle progress, even with ample funding.
The truth here is that public money is being wasted, and environmental progress is being stalled, not by a lack of technology or funding, but by a failure in governance and coordination. It's a stark warning for other nations pursuing similar green energy transitions.
What ties these disparate stories together, from the South China Sea to German garbage trucks, is a profound and unsettling pattern of obfuscation, mismanagement, and the deliberate or accidental suppression of inconvenient truths.
We see governments, whether in the Philippines or Cambodia, struggling with internal contradictions or resorting to superficial actions to deflect scrutiny, rather than tackling fundamental issues of governance and corruption.
There's a common thread of rhetorical manipulation, as seen with Nigel Farage, where divisive language is used to create false enemies and distract from genuine problems, eroding trust in institutions and fueling societal divisions.
Even in the realm of science, as with the AR-14 paper, we find truths that, while complex, reveal critical vulnerabilities in systems we rely on. These are truths that, if ignored, can have catastrophic real-world consequences, much like a hidden design flaw.
And the situation in Germany with the hydrogen trucks perfectly encapsulates the waste and inefficiency that results when public funds are allocated without rigorous planning and accountability, highlighting systemic failures rather than isolated incidents.
In every case, there are whistleblowers, whether an anonymous source leaking a letter, an investigative report, or even academic research, pulling back the curtain on the way power operates, often inefficiently, deceptively, or unjustly.
The through line is clear: whether it's political maneuvering, propaganda, or bureaucratic blunders, the truth is often the first casualty. But it is also the most powerful tool for accountability and change.
These stories remind us that transparency is not a given, it must be fought for. It's the public's right to know when their leaders are disunited, when their institutions are compromised, and when their money is wasted.
We encourage you, our viewers, to scrutinize the narratives presented to you, to question authority, and to demand accountability from those in power. Because the truth, however uncomfortable, is the foundation of a just society.
Join us next time on Truth Report as we continue to shine a light on the hidden corners of power and bring you the stories that matter.
I'm Alex Truth.
And I'm Maya Clarity. Good night.